Countdown is on. 15 days till the midterm elections, and candidates in one of the most closely watched races will face off tomorrow. Exactly 2 weeks until the election.
Yeah, those are Pennsylvania Senate candidates John Fetterman and Dr. Mehmet Oz. They're going to go head-to-head in their one and only debate. And while that battle happens on screen, CBS News has reporting on another battle taking place behind the scenes, off screen, you might say, also in the Keystone State. According to our chief elections and campaign correspondent, that would be Robert Costa, Republicans are working in that state to repeal the law that allows for no excuse mail-in voting. And to some involved in the efforts, it's happening at the encouragement of former President Donald Trump. CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns joins us now. Caitlin, it sounds like Bob doesn't have the reporting quite hammered out with regard to what role former President Trump plays in this effort to repeal no excuse mail-in voting. But the fact that it's happening at all is noteworthy. What more can you tell us about the efforts?
Yeah, Tony, it's significant that the former president is focusing on Pennsylvania. Remember, this is a state that he lost by about 80,000 votes. And as someone who spent the week before Election Day and the week after Election Day reporting outside that convention center, that was kind of at the focus of the 2020 campaign because it took longer to count the ballots there because there was a rule in place that you couldn't open mail-in ballots until Election Day. What this is focused on, though, these efforts or this talk of the former president wanting to repeal this Act 77. This is an act that was passed in 2019, which was before the pandemic, that allowed for no excuse absentee voting, which means that anybody could vote by mail. And it's significant because that was passed by a bipartisan legislature. Republicans voted in support of passing this, and it was signed into law in 2019. Fast forward after 2020, and Trump's false claims about the election, you've started to see Republicans kind of backtrack on that. So this is significant because we have a key Senate race there. We also have a key governor's race there. Doug Mastriano, who is an acolyte of the former president, if he is elected, he could be someone in charge of picking the person in charge of elections in that state. So the focus on Pennsylvania at this time is critical because of everything that we have seen, but also in terms of this law. And it should also be pointed out that we've been covering a lot of voting changes that have been implemented in the states after 2020, a lot of Republican attempts to change the voting laws in light of 2020. Pennsylvania hasn't changed any of their laws. And in the primary, it was essentially good enough for Republicans there to go through the same exact process without any changes to the law.
I mean, also remarkable that the former president himself voted by mail. Now, there is a debate that we're also watching very closely. It's in Florida. We know, one thing I was just reading that the Latino vote, which I'm always following so closely, is really favoring Ron DeSantis. What can you tell us about the debate, what we should expect to be watching most closely when he debates tonight?
Yeah, Lilia, I had the same reaction, which was that was a very notable poll. I think it showed DeSantis up about 7% among Hispanic voters, and also 50% of them saying that they liked his policy of shipping migrants to Martha's Vineyard. So suggesting that there may not be negative political fallout for him, at least when it comes to politics, on that decision to do that, or that move to do that. This is going to be a big debate to watch because this is, Florida. It's a key battleground, but it's becoming increasingly Republican. And when you look at the polls, DeSantis seems to be in good position. And even Democrats will tell you that they are, concerned that he is going to or has the upper hand in this election. We're all watching it, however, because DeSantis is someone that, clearly has ambitions beyond the governorship. And if he wins re-election, that gives him a boost on the national stage. They will have this debate. We know that President Biden is expected to also campaign in Florida for former governor Charlie Crist, now campaigning for his old job, but in a different party. But this is a race to watch because DeSantis is a person to watch as a kind of rising star within the Republican Party.
All right. Well, Caitlin, we got two big debates. We've got 2 weeks, give or take, before the midterms. Voters will decide what the best direction is for the future of the country. And you will be sitting in the red and blue chair tonight. What can viewers expect?
Yes, with a lot of coffee to fuel us through these next couple of weeks. I'm sure you guys are feeling it too. We're going to be talking about all of this. We have Bob Costa in Pennsylvania who will be joining us from the road. We've got a strat chat, as we like to call it, with a Republican and a Democrat to kind of talk about these issues. We are going to be talking about that Pelosi interview. She sat down with Margaret Brennan over the weekend on Face the Nation to talk about the Democrats' hopes of retaining the House, as high as an uphill climb that might be. So that's all coming up later today. And we're also going to talk about those Trump tapes. Remember, John Dickerson sat down with Bob Woodward, who's releasing audio tapes of conversations with the former president. So a lot to get to, just 2 weeks to go.
Although no tapes involved. I've been laughing as, Bob Woodward is a man of a certain generation.
You think literal tapes.
He grew up with tapes, but, the world has moved on, and I've seen
it's all on this now, right?
Yes, exactly. He's got a digital recorder now.
It's been
what is a tape? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you.
Thanks,
We'll be
Caitlin.
watching tonight.
Good to see you.